Welcome everybody to our webinar to talk about integrated business planning and also SAP best practices for integrated business planning. So what we'd like to talk about today is we talk a little bit about integrated business planning, and also we thought it would help because we've heard a lot coming from SAP about the intelligent enterprise. So we thought it would be good if we could also talk about the intelligent enterprise and where SAP integrated business planning kind of fits in. And we'll talk a little bit about SAP solutions for digital business planning like IBP, integrated business planning. We're not going to get into too many details on the positioning because that's been covered in other webinars that we've given previously. So we're just going to give a brief overview of SAP integrated business planning and, as I said, how it fits in with the intelligent enterprise. Then I'll pass over to my colleague Helen Yang, who will talk about IBP commercialization and monetization framework for partners, and talk about the new partner cell authorization update, which I'm sure is very important for everybody here. I'll then talk a little bit about SAP best practices for IBP and some of the new sales assets that we have that we're really excited about, especially the next generation benchmarking platform and the new business case for SAP IBP that's available through our value engineering organization at SAP. Finally, we'll finish up talking about IBP solution consultant certification and enablement resources. And at the very end, we'll point out the main website that should be, let's say, the first landing page that you go to as a partner for all things related to SAP integrated business planning. So with that, I'll go ahead and talk about the intelligent enterprise. So the intelligent enterprise is something that we launched, or that we really promoted heavily since our Sapphire conference. And really the intelligent enterprise is a response to a new imperative by our customers. And the customers are telling us, we need to accelerate the value creation. We have all these disruptions that are happening. How can we get value out of them faster? So some of these disruptions that I mentioned are thanks to new digital capabilities, and the type of business questions that we're hearing are how can I leverage these new digital technologies? How can I leverage these disruptions in the marketplace? New business models, new technologies, new amounts of data, new sources of data. How can I leverage all these things to run my business better, to either make better financial decisions, better planning decisions, better decisions about personnel and what I need, what skills I need, what I need to, who I need to hire, and how I need to incentivize them. And not only that, not only how do I deal with all these, disruptive factors. We can't just sit there and analyze something for years and then figure out, aha, that's what I should do with it. We need to accelerate being able to consume these digital disruptions, so to speak, and to deal with them. So we're finding that the pace of the businesses has just been increasing very rapidly. And what intelligent enterprises are trying to do to accommodate that disruption and these new technologies is really to find ways that they could use these new technologies and new digital capabilities and empower their employees or enable their employees to focus on higher value tasks. Okay, how can we get our employees working on things that will get us value faster or more value, and thereby, really to eliminate a lot of the repetitive tasks, the things that are not value creating, the things that might be important to do but don't necessarily require a lot of higher intelligence or real focus or attention from our employees. What are the things where we can automate? And in the past, maybe automation was really just doing repetitive tasks quicker. But really, with some of these new technologies, we're finding that automation is taking on a whole new level. Automation is not just doing something repetitive task faster or with fewer clicks, but it's really leveraging things like machine learning, like artificial intelligence, to basically let our machines, if you will, make those decisions and come to us when needed, when we can add value as an employee. So these are some of the disruptive factors that are happening in the marketplace. And what intelligent enterprises need is they need certain capabilities, right? They need visibility. They need to understand what's going on in their organization, what's going on in the marketplace, how they can use all that data that's available and see what is happening. They also need the ability to focus. With so much disruption, so much data, so much information, how can we really identify quickly and efficiently where do we need to focus our attention, what things do we need to invest in, and how do we really need to prioritize our business so that we can be the most effective, so that we can provide the most value to our companies and to our customers. And finally, agility is something that every company needs. It's no longer something that is a differentiator. It's more like just your entry ticket to coming to the play. If you don't have agility in today's environment, if you can't adapt to the market changes, to the technology changes, you're really going to struggle as an organization. Okay? So if we think about some of these capabilities that are required for intelligent enterprises, we can see that SAP is really positioned well to deliver a lot of these next practices, if you will, to our customers. So it allows them to do more with less and empower the employees. So things like, if we think about our supply chain, having real-time supplier and demand management, not making decisions on a Monday and then seeing what the results are a week later, not waiting for results from the suppliers for multiple emails back and forth, really being able to see in real time what's the situation with our suppliers, what's the situation with the demand that we're seeing on a minute-by-minute basis, not just a month-by-month basis, but even minute-by-minute basis. Also being able to deliver best-in-class customer experience, being able to have a good user experience and that omni-channel customer service, being able to look at what's going on in the supply chain with our customers, with our suppliers, at any time and anywhere. And also being able to adapt and adapt to new business models and invent new business models and revenue streams. So this is how SAP is trying to, help our customers to adapt to these new paradigms. And in order to do that, our strategic imperative is to deliver on what we refer to as the intelligent enterprise. And the intelligent enterprise is really featuring three key components. So it's the intelligent suite, all right, the intelligent suite of solutions that help companies plan and manage their business and execute on their vision. It's the intelligent technologies that are enabling companies to do a lot of these things better, faster, quicker, more efficiently. And it's all based on or all built on a digital platform that can serve as a single source of record, a single source of information, a single source of all the information that we need to run our business. Okay, so it's the intelligent suite, the intelligent technologies, all built on a digital platform. So let's take a slightly closer look at these three components. So the intelligent suite, this is what probably a lot of you are familiar with. The intelligence suite is things like the digital core, where we can handle our financial solutions, and where we have our financial products, being able to manage our general ledgers, accounts payable, accounts receivable, as well as doing things like inventory management, material requirements planning. So our digital core for many years at SAP was our SAP Business Suite, our ECC, ERP Central Component, and now we have SAP S/4HANA, both in the cloud and on-premise as our digital core. We also have our other solutions like SAP SuccessFactors in the human resources area, SAP Ariba for spend management and procurement. We have our C/4HANA, which was just recently announced at Sapphire for our customer experience, our next generation customer relationship management. And of course, we have our manufacturing and supply chain solutions, not just SAP Integrated Business Planning, which we'll be talking about more, but also SAP Digital Manufacturing, which was recently announced. All these solutions work together with integration out of the box, consistent business objects, consistent master data, so we have a single source of the truth, and orchestrated across these different solutions to make up the intelligence suite, the applications that are needed in a corporation to basically run the business. Okay? And we also have the digital platform. So this is the digital platform upon which all of our solutions are built, primarily using SAP HANA, which is both our in-memory database and our platform for building new applications. And it's also what powers the SAP Cloud Platform, or SCP. And this is our platform for extending the business processes that we have in the Intelligence Suite. Because, of course, every company is going to have their own solutions that they want to build, that they want to develop with competitive advantages. And we provide the SAP Cloud Platform for that as an extension platform for building onto the intelligent enterprise. And then finally, being able to take advantage of intelligent technologies, things like machine learning, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain, all these new technologies and techniques, being able to leverage those, whether they're part of the intelligent enterprise, the intelligence suite, embedded in the solutions, or whether they're even custom or bespoke solutions that are built on the SAP Cloud Platform. These are the technologies that help companies to operate better, faster, and more efficiently. So that was kind of a very fast overview of the intelligent enterprise. And we can see that, what does that mean for the supply chain? Let's take it down a level and look at the digital supply chain. Well, if we think about those intelligent technologies, we think of examples like using the Internet of Things, where we can have information perhaps from sensors or sensor-enabled devices, whether they're automobiles, vending machines, or monitors in a retail store, that help to provide data and input to what's going on out in the world, what's going on with our products, what's going on with our customers, and maybe those provide, for example, demand signals to our planning solution that will help us make better decisions based on what the real-time demand is. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are very helpful so that we can really be efficient in our supply chain, so we can identify where are the areas that we need to pay attention, that we need to make a decision, that we need to analyze further, so that we don't have to deal with, let's say, the normal humdrum everyday tasks that are just checks on the checklist. But really, how do I identify where I have an opportunity, where do I have a problem, so I can enable real management by exception practices. And of course, predictive analytics. how can I use predictive analytics to help me predict what's going to happen in my supply chain, to help build an accurate forecast, a more accurate forecast, and to help predict what could happen down the road. So this is kind of where the rubber meets the road for the supply chain in the intelligent enterprise. So if we think about our solutions now for digital business planning, all right, in the intelligent enterprise, we're talking about primarily SAP Integrated Business Planning, or IBP, and that's really the focus of our discussion today. IBP is a cloud solution that has been in the market for several years now, and we've had really fantastic adoption from our customers who leverage it for the different supply chain planning capabilities. With IBP, we enable state-of-the-art business processes, okay, designed end-to-end. So we don't have, a demand planning module in a silo. We don't have an inventory optimization algorithm in a silo. Really, IBP was built from the ground up with end-to-end processes in mind, everything from the suppliers all the way to the customers and everything in between. We also have synchronized planning processes so that, one part of the organization who does something, you can see the impacts and the repercussions downstream. You don't have to find out after the fact or send somebody an email. It's all in the platform. And because of that, you have end-to-end visibility of what's going on in your entire supply chain, because everything is based on one data model and one solution. So you're not replicating information back and forth. You have all the information that you need in front of you. And this, of course, enables faster planning cycles, more efficient planning, and less back and forth, less time needed to plan your supply chain. Okay. One of the great things about SAP IBP is the user experience, and we've really spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to make sure that we have a really top-notch unified user experience, whether it's using the dashboard and the predefined data models and templates to leveraging Excel and the capabilities that everybody is familiar with there, to providing role-based user experiences based on what your function or your role in the organization. Okay. Now, I've got a lot more information available that I'm going to cover today, but I just want to quickly go through the 5 applications of SAP IBP, just to give you an idea of what they are. We've talked about IBP in other webinars, so I don't want to go into a lot of detail. At the end, or actually towards the end, I'll be showing a slide that has a link to all of our IBP-related webinars. So you can go to that page later and see for yourself if you want to find out more information, for example, about IBP for demand. There's more information. So really quickly, IBP is generally organized into 5 main applications, if you will. So the first is SAP Supply Chain Control Tower, and this is really something that gives you that end-to-end visibility across the entire network, where you can see how your supply chain is doing. You can do a pulse check. You can do a health check. How are we doing? Where do I have issues? Where do I have exceptions? Am I not meeting my key performance indicator targets? Where am I doing exceedingly well? So maybe I want to investigate there to find some potential best practices that I could leverage elsewhere. Second is SAP Integrated Business Planning for Sales and Operations, or S&OP, Sales and Operations Planning. And this really allows you to bring together the consensus demand, the supply plan, the financial plan, and bring all these different facets together to do your mid and long-term planning. Integrated Business Planning for Demand really helps you get into the details of the demand that you're seeing from your customers. How can I really analyze what's going on, what the demand looks like, do really intelligent and predictive forecasts to say, here's what I need for my customers, here's what I expect my customers to need, what I expect them to use, and be able to do different modeling, what-if scenarios. What if I were to, start this campaign, a month earlier than I had planned? What would happen if I, provided an incentive that would really increase this particular product's attractiveness? IBP for Demand allows you to do all those things. IBP for Inventory, that allows you to really set intelligent guidelines and goals for your inventory planning, to be able to set safety stock targets so that you can meet and maximize your customer service levels, being able to look not just in a single spot for a single product, being able to look through your entire supply chain so that you can make intelligent decisions on where and how much inventory you should be stocking in your supply chain. And finally, integrated business planning for response and supply, where we look at the supply side of the equation, and we do not just our high-level planning for what we expect from our suppliers, but we can also, really make intelligent responses to what's happening in our supply chain with using response management, so that I can look down and say, oh, okay, here's something that's happening. I have an order that's coming in late. How does that impact my supply and how I can deliver to my customers? What are the options that I have available? And then finally, because this is really important, I did want to mention also the integration with SAP S/4HANA as the digital core, as I mentioned earlier. Of course, the supply chain, it's not just about planning, it's also about execution. And that's really where SAP S/4HANA comes into play for handling, basically putting into action what we plan in integrated business planning, whether it's production planning, material requirements planning, or being able to identify our availability to promise to customers whether we can meet their orders or what the alternatives are, alternative sources. All these capabilities are leveraging the functionality in SAP S/4HANA. And IBP and S/4HANA work together with integrated out of the box with templates and tools to help connect the two solutions. Okay, I have a lot more information that you will receive with the recording in the slides that I don't want to get into today, but I did want to point out that we do have quite a lot of resources available. We have some benchmark information, we have some videos, we have lots of customer success stories, such as Lennox, ArcelorMittal, Blunt. There's lots of information available. We even have several books available on SAP IBP by various experts and really great authors who have contributed to these. So there's lots of information more available on IBP. I could talk to you all day about it, but at this point I would really love to hand over to my colleague Helen, who's going to talk about commercial and monetization information for partners.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks very much. Given for this session, we have a majority of our partners in this session, so I wanted to quickly take you through what are the business, what does it mean for partners in terms of partner business. First of all, wanted to quickly take you through on the commercial terms for integrated business planning. So basically, for any partners who are new to SAP IBP, as Brian mentioned, that introduced the SAP integrated business planning, basically having 5 applications. So all the applications, the solutions are priced based on subscription per application per month. Within the subscription, given its cloud solution, it is already covered with the respective application, with SAP HANA database, with software maintenance support, system operations and support, everything included. And of course, the customer have the option to upgrade their HANA memory based on their requirement and needs, and obviously with the test tenant also based on the customer specific requirement. The typical standard contract term is 3 years, however, there are also other terms available. Later on, I have one very detailed slide will take you through on in terms of what does it mean for partner in terms of partner compensation if we look into 3 years contract term. So looking into next, for our partners, how do partners earn money for SAP Integrated Business Planning? For majority of our partners that in general business today, they manage the entire customer relationship, starting from selling to delivery, service, support, and having continuous relationship with the customer to monetize from the entire customer lifecycle management. So basically, for partner sales model, there are 2 models for partner sell the solution into the GB customer. What you can see on the left-hand side is the cloud choice profit model. Well, basically, this model is where partner identify opportunity, register opportunity, continuously to drive the opportunity to close, and drive upsell, identify upsell opportunity, position other solutions, and obviously to keep the customer satisfaction as well as the safeguard the renewal to this customer. For this cloud choice profit model, our partner having compensation of it's a shared revenue model. So partner gets 20% compensation for the initial contract based on the annual contract value. And for renewal, that is 15% for the annual contract value. This sales model is for GB customers only. Now, what's the difference of the classical traditional resale model is that for partners who's getting, new to the cloud business, it is on SAP paper for the cloud choice profit. So basically, SAP will take care of all the invoicing process, payment collection process to ease all those cloud business processes from the partner. So therefore, the partner concentrate on having this customer relationship and selling and delivering the service. Now, for the classical resale model, this is obviously also available for partner to sell IBP to the customer. So that means for resale, same as CCP, partner manage the entire sales and transaction, and it will be on partner paper. So for the classical resale model, it is a 30% discount to the partner. So it is up to the partner eventually how partner price and quote to the customer depends on their preferred margin or the customer budget. And how do partners continuously to make money on top of this initial sale of IBP to the customer? Now, it's all about cloud economics. So different than selling on-prem solution, if any of the partner that attending the session live with us today is coming from the classical on-prem selling S/4HANA on-prem to the customer from this world, the difference is all about building this recurring subscription business model. So it's not about the initial sales. It's not about initial implementation, initial service. It's most importantly about to continuously drive upsell and keep this renewing, keep this sustainable profit from the customer. So basically, as a partner, you need to have continuously to identify opportunities to position other IBP applications if you only sold one applications to the customer, to identify other applications, to identify other SAP Cloud applications to this customer, and having these ongoing services to the customer. And more importantly, to build your intellectual property, your extensions, add-ons around integrated business planning or your integration packages that's using SAP Cloud Platform. And here I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into what exactly look like for a compensation based on Cloud Choice Profit. Now, this is based on the assumption of average deal size of integrated business planning in general business, so in the SMB space. And this typically is when we look into the deal that starts with a sales and operation and a test tenant. So it is 105,000 euro annual contract value. Assumption is that partners sell 2 IBP deals in the first year and 3 IBP deals in year 2, 4 deals in year 3. In the first year, the service revenue, the delivery implementation revenue is 2x of ACV, and per deal for the following year of ongoing service and validation, that is 0.5 x ACV, that is assumption. And with the partner's maturity of the solution and also your service skills has been increased, for the following year you have built your own implementation, template or some of the packages, then you can drive down the service cost also drive down the service cost, so it can drive down to 1.5x ACV. So with this assumption in mind, for the first year, based on the Cloud Choice Profit on the initial contract of 20% of the ACV to partner, that means for the deal compensation for new deals, for 2 deals, that is 42,000 euro, and service implementation for initial implementation is 420,000. So for year 1, 462,000. Now, year 2, given this is 3 years contract term, you continuously to get the 20% compensation for CCP on the first year 2 deals. So 3 deals in year 2 plus the compensation of the 2 deals coming from year 1 plus the integration implementation service for the new deals and ongoing service based on the assumption that's 105. And by the time of year 2, you have gained experience, you develop integration, extension, add-ons, and for this calculation, year 2 would be 707,000 euro. Same apply for year 3, that 4 deals, continuously you have 20% of the CCP compensation based on the previous year's deal that is still on the initial contract, plus the initial implementation and ongoing service for the years before that you continue to identify new opportunities to upsell and ongoing of the service implementation and also extension, your own intellectual IP extension implementation. That means totally for 3 years as a partner business for integrated business planning based on average deal size of 105K, that your revenue would be 2 million, 2.2 to basically 2.3 million. So that is the value proposition for our partners to sell integrated business planning in general business. Now there's a lot of market momentum, as Brian mentioned, with intelligent enterprise and all those new technologies, ever-evolving speed of innovation. Again, for partner monetization, partner business opportunities, is to leverage your investment, your install base of S4HANA, of ECC, that to look into those install base that especially those having APO solutions to upsell SAP Integrated Business Planning into your install base, or attach IBP together with your S4 as digital core to your net new names. And of course, with knowledge gained, that to continuously to build extension and build that recurring business model using on the integration and extension platform of SAP Cloud Platform. So now that is the commercial terms as well as the monetization model framework for our partners. As I said before, all partners to sell SAP Integrated Business Planning must to have sell authorization, must to authorized to sell the solution. So here I would like to share with you the update, the new requirement, which has already announced, and for existing resellers already received the notification, and this will be effective on August the 20th. Basically, the change or the update, the new requirement to our partners would be we're adding new learning curriculum, learning content, and also require partner must have one person to go through this learning to be qualified is the customer engagement executive role. Now, this is very critical for the cloud business, as mentioned before, for cloud economic, cloud business to have sustainable, continuous profitability. Selling IBP, selling cloud solution is all about customer lifetime value. And that is having a customer executive to sitting on top of install base to keep this customer satisfaction, to safeguard the renewal, to ensure to the reference, and to continuously identify upsell and cross-sell opportunities. So there are a lot of content will be available for partners to basically leverage SAP's best practice that build customer engagement process roles, that's also helping you that to build this similar process, that's to ensure that having this maximize the customer lifetime value. So there are a lot of content on what should be the roles and responsibilities as a partner side customer engagement executive should have, and also what should be the process, etc. So I will not dive too much into the details on those content, but overall, in terms of partner sell authorization, that means on top of the current what we require today, which is one sales executive that to have minimum capability, solution knowledge, and also minimum, let's say, cloud business knowledge. And very importantly is to understand the sales engagement, sales processes that to sell IBP solution in general business. And also pre-sales consultant to have one person to understand the solution, have the basic minimum product knowledge in order to sell the solution, position the solution. What is added into this new requirement is one qualified customer engagement executive. This can be same person as a pre-sales or sales executive. Depends on the partner's install base, IBP install base. If you're having one or two install base, it can be shared person, one person, shared responsibility that is accountable for managing the customer satisfaction. If you're having more than 5 or even up to 10, more than 10 install base, that is recommended to have a full-time employee. So there are full links to guide you into the curriculum that is required for the respective role in order to get sell authorization, which is mandatory requirement for partner to sell the solution. Resell the solution, be it via resell model or cloud choice model. So all this slide will be shared with you, so you could follow those hyperlink. This will direct you to the partner learning room of integrated business planning to guide you through on those curriculums. For customer engagement executive role, all those learning curriculums will be available on August the 20th of 2018. With that, I'd like to hand over back to Brian to give you on the topics that we're going to bring you next in terms of best practices for integrated business planning.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. And just for everybody's reference, in the Q&A panel, I just added the main IBP page in Partner Edge. So a lot of the direct links, as Helen mentioned, you'll get on the slides, but our overall landing page that should be your your most important bookmarked link is there in the Q&A. So first of all, what kind of help do we offer to our partners? Well, one of the big things on the implementation side is the SAP best practices for SAP IBP. And the best practices, many of you might be familiar with the old nomenclature, Rapid Deployment Solutions, or RDS, we used for several years. Basically, SAP best practices is the new name for what we used to call RDS. And we actually provide really excellent best practices for IBP, and we invest a lot actually in these best practices. We have a dedicated team who's just focusing on IBP and the best practices, and there are updates on a quarterly basis. And in fact, just yesterday, we announced SAP IBP release 1808, so 18 for 2018, the year, and 08 for August. So 1808 is our latest and greatest IBP release, and the SAP best practices for SAP Integrated Business Planning for release 1808 are already published. So I have up here the links where you can find more information, and the things that we have for the best practices are really fantastic. Everything from test scripts to process flow diagrams to show, here's how, in a best practices world, the things would work, the process would work, scope items, configuration guides, different templates that you can use for Excel and also for dashboards, and even sample data CSV files that you could upload or look at for a customer so that you're not just starting from scratch with a completely blank system. We really invest a lot here, and I think it's really beneficial to our customers and to our partners especially. And I'm not going to talk any more about the best practices because we have a couple of webinars coming up. Actually, this webinar today is one webinar in a series where we're providing more information, in particular for partners. And the one that I want to highlight, if I can just put my arrow next to it, the one I want to highlight is the next one coming up related to best practices, and that's on August 28th. On August 28th, we will have another webinar, SAP Best Practices for IBP, and that's going to be more an introduction. So if you're new to IBP, if you're new to best practices, like if you haven't used the best practices that are available for S4HANA, et cetera, this would be a great webinar to learn what are SAP best practices, what do we have available for integrated business planning, and just kind of get a high-level overview. And then, a week later, we are planning to have our best practices for IBP deep dive. So this will be for the those of you who really want to roll up their sleeves, get their hands dirty in the system, so you can see from one of our experts for IBP best practices what it looks like to actually use the best practices. How does it look in IBP? How would you leverage them? So not just the what it is, but detail level how, and also answer any kind of questions that you might have. But before we have those best practices webinars, there is another really great webinar coming up just next week. As I mentioned, we just released IBP release 1808, and we have our What's New webinar, which we always have a huge following for, coming up next Thursday. And as I mentioned, you can get to those links through the link that I put in the Q&A, or for the webinar specifically, I've added this link up here at the top, the main link for all of our IBP events and webinars, not just those offered by SAP, but also those offered by partners. which is a really great avenue for partners to get their message out. And if you want to register for those best practices webinar, I have a direct link here on the right-hand side when you get these slides. Now, it's not just the implementation consultants who need a little help and support. It's also the sales colleagues that we want to provide some help for. And we have a lot of sales assets available, but some of the new ones that I'm really excited about are our next generation benchmarking platform and the business case for SAP IBP. So let's say that you've decided to resell IBP, for example, or you're trying to help your customers make a decision, and you know that SAP IBP is a great solution for your customer, but they're having difficulty in quantifying the value or maybe just assessing where they are, in the intelligent enterprise world. How well do they do? A lot of companies, have a good idea that they, have opportunities for improvement, but maybe they need some help in quantifying just where they need to improve or what benefit improving in this one area would give them. So for that, we have the next generation benchmarking platform. And many of you are familiar with our value engineering organization at SAP and our benchmarking capabilities, where we're just launching a next generation benchmarking. So after many years of using a platform, we've gathered a lot of feedback, a lot of information, and we're now going to the next generation benchmarking. So this is where customers can go on to our platform, and they can answer questions about how their organization is running, what are their capabilities, how well do they do, etc., and really have the opportunity to get a good benchmarking against other companies in the similar industries or in similar businesses to really assess how they're doing. And I have an example on a small example on the next slide. But I did want to mention, how can partners get involved in this? Partners can absolutely leverage this next generation benchmarking survey with their customers. And I have some information down here at the bottom of the slide. If you're interested in participating as a pilot partner for the next generation benchmarking, there's a contact information, value management at sap.com, and our value engineering team will walk you through the process and help you help your customers to participate in this exciting new opportunity. And if we just look at an example for supply chain, we have an example here where we say, all right, one of the benchmarks things that we want to measure ourselves against is whether an organization runs a demand sensing process to create and adjust short-term forecasts, really daily forecasts and even intraday feedback. And we have some information there. 62% of organizations consider it important to move from a reactive to a predictive business. So this is how customers can become an intelligent enterprise leveraging these technologies. And we help customers to benchmark themselves. Where do I fit now? And also, what could I gain if I could move from, let's say, a highly manual process to a predictive or even a prescriptive process? And where are my benchmark organizations, or in other words, your competitors, where are they right now in general? So this is a really valuable tool, and it really helps our customers to make the business case of why they should go to a solution like integrated business planning. Further to that, we also have a new template from our value engineering colleagues on IBP specifically. So it's basically a business case template. And I'm sorry for the formatting here. It came off kind of funny when it was uploaded. But basically, this is something where most partners would do this on their own anyway, help their customers build a business case. Well, here's the starting point for you that SAP has already put together based on feedback from hundreds of customers, where we can say, here's what a customer could expect if they were to implement these solutions that are part of integrated business planning, and here's what levers it will pull. If you'd like to participate, if you'd like to get this template, it is available for partners, and there's a link down here on the link to Partner Edge, which has all the details of how you can get access. Okay, so definitely something to take a look at afterwards. With that, for the final section, I will hand it over to the other Brian, Brian Nelson.
Great. Thanks a lot, Brian. Yeah, just a quick introduction. My name is Brian Nelson. I'm with our digital supply chain and manufacturing channel management team, responsible for partner enablement. So I help organize a lot of these webinars and workshops, and wanted to just give a couple minutes on some of the resources that are available to partners around integrated business planning and some of the new projects that are in place. So the first thing I want to talk about is the recently released solution consultant certification that's available. So it's designed for solution consultants that are new to integrated business planning and are looking at trying to get a base or fundamentals around integrated business planning. So this is a certification that's available at Certification Hub. We provided some links for that in this presentation. So one of the things about this certification, and I put up here, is so what do we need to know to be able to get this certification? And that information is based around a couple training classes that are available at SAP Education. So in this chart that I have up here, it breaks down what are the different sections of that certification test that's available and where that information can be gathered. So I think this is a pretty handy chart, so that if you've got at least some basic experience in or you understand basic IBP architecture, you probably are, again, according to this chart, about 20% of the way here, and where you might need some additional support or background knowledge, it'll give you the exact courses that are available to give you that updated knowledge. So one of the things about this certification, again, like I kind of mentioned, it's for the newer solution consultant, and it gives them some basic proficiency in the solution, and gives for your customers some verification that you've gained some technical product knowledge on there. And we kind of position the certification for someone to go into a project under the tutelage of more experienced solution consultants. So it's not geared to giving you everything you need to know to be able to implement an IBP project, but gives you the basic understanding. So that's something that's been released in March, April of this year that's available, that we're pointing a lot of our customers to, or our partners to, excuse me. And where can you get more information? So, there is a lot of information that's out there available. It's kind of where do we go to get that? So as Brian put in the Q&A at the bottom, kind of the first place we point partners to is to the SAP Partner Edge IBP product page. So this is a Partner Edge page, the standard product page that you've ever gone to the Partner Edge portal. Most products have a product page up there, and IBP is no different. Right on the first page, it's available. You'll see links to additional training and resources, to how to sell, how to implement, where it points you to those specific resources. On one of the top assets, right on the first page it's on there, is a link to the SAP Integrated Business Planning Learning Room. So the Learning Room is a collaboration room where partners can go to ask questions, as well as see what's available as far as classroom and online training that's available. And so one of the great resources on the planning in the Learning Room is the learning journey. And what I like about the learning journey is it's similar to what we saw on the previous slide. It says here's the courses that are available, but it gives you a roadmap for progressing through the various IBP products and solutions in a stepwise manner, so that you can start at the most high or basic level and work your way into greater depth. and you can it'll actually track your progress through this learning journey. So I think that's a great resource that's available. There's also a partner enablement guide, which is a PDF that can point you to all the various places where you can get resources, SAP Help, Solution Explorer, the Learning Room. So there, again, there's a lot of places where you can go, and so this enablement guide is a nice place where you can go back to have something stored locally where you can go and say, you know what was that link to this particular course or this particular webinar, and that could take you there as well. And the fourth place that I want to point people to is there's a community wiki. SAP Community has a series of wiki pages available, and there is one for integrated business planning. And again, it's sometimes we just want to see a big old list of upcoming webinars or previous webinars or customer events that are coming up, and that's a great place to go to get that information. Again, also links to various solutions. So those are just a couple of resources that I want to point out to everybody.